Hi, welcome to Positively Sparking, a podcast on internet marketing, online productivity and business. Today I'm with Joe Harrison, expert VA and client manager at Positive Sparks, and this month in our review of apps we're going to make a bit of a different approach and look at the apps that Joe has been discovering as she's been learning all about pay-per-click. Hey Joe, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks, Phil. And you?
I'm good, but we're busy. So I'm kind of good in a hectic kind of way.
Very busy, yeah, and the heat's probably not helping.
And the heat, well, you know, the heat you can never complain about, because when it's not here...
I can complain.
Well, you live in France, that is the difference. That is the difference. But here in the UK, we have to worship it when it's like it has been this week. We've been over 30 degrees, John, in Cornwall.
Very true. Yeah, it's 35 here today. It has been all week.
We're actually down to 19 today. It's a bit nice again.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
There we go, boring all the listeners with our talk of weather again.
Of course.
So this week, Joe, the week before you go away on holiday, you're actually coming to the UK next week on holiday.
Yeah, lucky me.
So I hope the temperatures rise again for you.
I think it's going to rain all week, actually.
Is it? Yes. Oh dear. I don't know what to say now. But this week we're going to talk about some of the apps that you've been discovering as you've been training in PPC.
Yes, indeed.
So this will be a fun chat. So let's just begin, and you tell everyone a little bit about what you've been learning.
Okie doke. So obviously working with you, and you've been sending me lots of work to on Google Ads and Facebook Ads, and obviously you use some tools which I've not used before. So while learning how to do Google AdWords and Facebook ads, I've also been learning how to use AdEspresso, which I think we reviewed in a past podcast.
We did.
Or you reviewed, yeah. And Google AdWords Editor. And both have made my life a lot easier.
Well, that's what I hoped when I introduced them.
Yes,
so let's talk about AdEspresso first. Because I always find this quite fun to use.
Yeah, it was addictive at the start, I think, and looking at all the different optimization you can do on ads in AdEspresso is the fun bit, I think. And it's just all there. Whereas when you're using the Facebook Ads Manager and you don't know where you're looking. Where you're going, how you can find things out. AdEspresso is so easy and it's just right there in front of you. I think that's what the good thing about it is, that you can just see at a glance how well your ad's doing, how many conversions it's got, the different optimization you can do with audiences, interests, all that sort of thing. So I'm quite excited about AdEspresso, and I wish I could use it more, and I wish I had the money to spend on advertising for my own business. And then I would be on there constantly doing lots of ads.
Well, hopefully, Joe, by the end of the year, you'll be rolling in your successes of many kinds.
Hopefully.
So we'll see if we can get you on AdEspresso running all those tests. But one thing I loved about it, I know when I started using it, all those things you've mentioned there. So to kind of further explain to everyone what it is, AdEspresso is a standalone Facebook advertising tool. And where it is very, very wonderful to use is it easily lets us split test things. So that might be things within the advert, could be images, copy, headlines. It can also be audiences. And that's where it gets really interesting, isn't it? When we split test audiences, that's where it's very, very insightful, because we can see the difference in cost per click, click-through rates, conversion rates, and the all-important factor, the CPA. So tell everyone what CPA is, Joe. It's a new thing for you.
It's a cost per acquisition.
And isn't it useful?
It is, yeah, very useful. That's all I've been checking for you, really. As long as we don't go over a certain amount, then we're rolling.
And it is such an important part of pay-per-click in general. And where you might be seeing this now, you've had a good 6 weeks now on pay-per-click, and it's such a different style of web marketing. and there's pros and cons to that, but one of the big pros is we can really quickly see our investment versus our return.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when we, if we do our own social media or we do our own content marketing or SEO, that is much more difficult to work out because they are time cost heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas ads are,
exactly,
which you get charged per click. So what's your favourite part of AdExpresso? What would you enjoy the most?
I don't know really. I think when I've been using it, not recently, but when we first started using it, and I was addicted to looking and checking how many conversions we have. I'm trying to think just just how easy it is to set up an ad. I mean, obviously I get you to do the wording because I'm rubbish at wording. But the rest of it, of setting it up, it's just so easy. It's like click, 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 and it's done. Whereas when I've used like Ads Manager or Power Editor in Facebook, it's so complicated, and you're clicking backwards and forwards. You don't know where you're going.
Sure.
So I think it's just because it's so easy. That's my favourite. That's my favourite part of it, because I like easy tools to use.
That's what our chats on here are all about, isn't it? And
exactly.
One thing I just want to say to everyone is you kind of had a baptism of fire on Facebook ads because you came right in on a live, fast-moving campaign. And you just took to it so well, you really did. And that's a great credit to you. And maybe AdExpresso helped a bit, but it's also about the user. And that wasn't an easy thing to adapt to.
Yeah, I think I probably would have, I probably would have had a nervous breakdown using Facebook Ads Manager or Power Editor doing all those ads. And whereas AdExpresso made it fun.
It does, and then the pictures are quite cute and fun to watch and look at, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Thumbs up, thumb down, and nice, simple things. What we're saying about web marketing here, nice, simple people.
Oh, exactly, yeah. We like it to be nice and simple. If it was too complicated, then nobody would ever do it.
Totally. I think you're bang on right. So we'll tell everyone where to go and have a go at AdExpresso in a sec. But what impact have you found images have on Facebook?
Oh, a big impact. Big impact with the campaign that we've been working on. The images at the start, when we were doing quite a lot of ads, you particularly liked one image, which we used a lot in the ads, which performed really well. But there were some others that performed better than that one that you liked.
That's it, they did.
But yeah, images is definitely important because especially when you're split testing them with sort of 3 or 4 different images, you can really see the big difference that a good image will be against a rubbish image.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be surprising how an image can differ across different locations or across different interests. So one location might like one image and another location prefers another.
Exactly, yeah.
There's no great logic to that. It's just the open mind we have to keep when we do split testing. That's what split testing is all about.
Yeah, and obviously matching the image to the audience is the main thing, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, so great imagery, so important on Facebook because it is a visual platform, without doubt.
Yeah.
So AdExpresso, www.adexpresso.com, probably one of the addresses Joe's visited most in the last 30 days at least, I would think.
Yeah, probably.
And definitely worth checking out. If you do any kind of Facebook advertising and you want to cut down the cost of your ads, find out what your audience want you to give them, it's a great tool to use.
Exactly.
So tell us about the more logical, the more, if this was Star Trek, I would say that AdWords are kind of Spock.
The AdWords is a bit different to Facebook ads, where looking at it, it's confusing. And when I've been doing stats for it, it's confusing. And until you get in and you start creating ads, it's difficult to understand how it works, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do.
Because when I first started my business, back in 2011, I think I got sort of free credits from Google to do some ads. And I just jumped in there and I had no clue what I was doing. And created an ad, and I can't even remember how it performed, to be honest. But now, obviously, after working with you, working through what we've been doing on the campaigns, it's a lot simpler, and using AdWords editor is very similar to like using Facebook Ad Espresso for Facebook ads. It makes the whole process so much simpler.
Definitely. I think one of the reasons that AdWords seems so overwhelming is because it's been around much longer. So, if we think of all the things that have happened on Facebook ads alone in the last 2 years, where we've gone from being able to target interests only to then being able to remarket to people who've been to our site and to lookalike, probably the biggest advancement that Facebook has brought in, where we can find people who are similar to the people already engaging with our site or Facebook page. Then imagine that AdWords has had 10 times more time. Well, 5 times more time, probably not 10 times. 5 times more time to advance things. So a lot of the functionality in there is the accumulation of all those years. And there are so many options that it is so much to learn when you first come on board with AdWords. And you've done really well again. You've really taken to it. You passed 2 exams in 4 weeks.
Yeah, true.
Which is an amazing thing in itself. So you've certainly got a taste for it.
Yeah, well, if I don't have a taste for it, then you can't give me any work. So,
so you have to have a taste for it. You will like it. I have to have a taste for it.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about what you found out to be the hardest part of AdWords.
I think the hardest. I mean, and I'm still not completely, confident with it. The difficult thing for me is creating the ads, probably, and the different where you have different ad groups and the different keywords and adding negative keywords, all that sort of thing. It gets a little bit complicated, but by using AdWords editor, it makes it a lot simpler. For example, yesterday when I went to change a URL on an ad for us, I went into Google AdWords first on a browser, and I was like, what am I doing in here? Because I had no clue where to look to change this URL. And I went into AdWords editor, and it took me 2 minutes to do it.
That's it.
And that's the difference. It just makes it so much easier to manage, I think.
Absolutely. And it's a great tool created by Google for that reason. Once AdWords became so big and vast, it was something that they saw the need and developed that tool, as they do with many things. Google are very, very fast to adapt to what the online world requires at any time. And I think one of the reasons that AdWords can be so kind of overbearing is because we have to react really fast. We can waste a lot of money if we do not add negative keywords as we see them.
Yeah.
And we can easily run through an entire budget if we're not refining all the time.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So it is a much more fast-moving advertising network because there's just so many people that we can reach. Yeah.
It's so funny because since I've been doing this with you, obviously I've been chatting to Jerome about the stuff that I've been doing, and now it makes me laugh every time he says to me, "Oh, they're remarketing at me again."
Because he's seeing that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he's seeing it where he's searching for jobs at the moment, and it's coming up saying, he's like, well, why are they on this website? And I've obviously had to explain it to him how it works.
There you go. And you see that more and more as you do more advertising yourself. You see how other people target you. Yeah. And then I find myself, browsing Facebook or AdWords and thinking, oh, that's a great remarketing ad.
Yeah, I've been doing that as well.
So just tell everyone what remarketing is, Joe, just for anyone who doesn't know.
Oh, well, hopefully I can explain it a bit better than I did to Jerome. So it's basically when you visit certain websites, or if you're looking at products, for example, on Amazon is a good example, sort of later on in the day maybe, and you're on Facebook or you're on another website that uses Google Ads, you may have adverts that come up for that product or for that website you've been looking at, and that's remarketing. And the way they do it is by tracking where you're going online, and then the people that are advertising are targeting you through the visits to that particular website.
That was very good.
You might be able to explain that better than me.
No, not at all. I thought it was a great explanation. And there's so many examples in life when we see that. Amazon was a great one that you said. Mm-hmm. Travel is often a big one. If we book a flight for the next week, we're seeing hotels and car hire coming at us. So that's remarketing. Mm-hmm. And it's such a big part of internet marketing now that that most people don't see it in the way that you and Jerome are now noticing it everywhere because you know what it is. Yeah. So people just assume that the advert is there for everyone, and it isn't. Mm-hmm. It's just there for them.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I think that's the difference now. I've been working with it. I mean, I knew anyway, kind of, but now I really know how it works. So when I see adverts pop up, I'm like, well, I'm ignoring you. I'm a really bad consumer because I do ignore stuff, retargeting. So people should save their money and not retarget to me.
There are ways, of course, you can switch things like that off. So the plugin for Chrome that we discussed on one of our previous podcasts, Ghost, will let you block all advertising pixels. So that would stop you being remarketed. But then I think, by and large, if remarketing is done well, people don't mind it.
Yeah,
it's only when it's done badly or it's overdone and it becomes irritating.
Yeah, I think that's what the ones that I ignore are the ones that you just get constantly. Like, go away. It was like, especially if you've been looking at holidays or you've been on holiday, and then they start retargeting you for the same place that you've actually been on holiday. And it's like, why would you do that?
That's definitely bad remarketing. Definitely bad. So what, Joe, would you like to see develop for kind of PPC marketeers? What do you think there's a gap for in the market?
Wow, what a question. I have no idea. You're probably a better person to answer that. You've been doing it longer.
Well, sometimes I find that when people begin a journey, it's when they see the biggest gap. I
really?
just wish I had this, and it would make it so much easier and what have you.
I think for the AdWords editor, it's really good for creating and managing your ads. But unless you might correct me if I'm wrong, but you can't really see the stats on there as well. Is that right? Graphs and all that sort of thing.
You can download them, but it's not to the same degree that we would find on the AdWords dashboard, or probably more so on analytics. Analytics is the best place to review stats for anything.
That's true.
But yeah, it's a fair point. They do not download into there, so we have to have two screens up, don't we? If we're going to kind of update things when looking at stats, then we also have AdWords editor open at the same time.
Yeah, but then obviously we've been using another tool to optimize our ads, which I've found really good as well, which is Optio.
Definitely so. So how has that helped you?
It's probably helped me with the comparing a winning ad with a losing ad, and about adding negative keywords and that sort of thing. With their suggestions, it's useful because you think, well, maybe you should go and look at the other things that are happening, not just that particular one that they've suggested.
Yeah, definitely so. And I think it's a great tool, especially when we're beginning to learn about AdWords, because a lot of what they show us are things that it would take us a long time to learn about and consider. If we're doing all the training for AdWords, it's 5 or 6 exams down the road.
Exactly.
So they bring it to light early on. And so, you've seen segmentation, and you've seen how hours of the day can affect things, or all kinds of other factors that make our cost per click go up and down. So where can we find Optio? Because that's one we should definitely mention and give a web address to.
I don't actually know what the web address is.
Let me tell you.
Will I just go straight into the app? So I don't. It's optio.com.
That's it, nice
Easy
and
one.
easy. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So opteo.com.
And you can try it free for 30 days.
Yes, you can. Yeah, definitely worth doing, without doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And so that combo, what that's quite interesting there is that we have AdWords Editor, which helps us change the ads.
Mm-hmm.
And Optio is optimizing the ads. So we can see that AdWords is already bigger because the apps focus on one aspect.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Whereas AdExpresso is doing everything, really.
Doing everything, yeah.
Yeah, in one place. So I think over time that'll change. I think Facebook will expand in the same way that AdWords has. And the tools will become more focused on specific things.
Yeah.
And then we'll use different things for different platforms. So a couple of things that we'll start to look at together when you're back from your holidays are two new things from Google. So Google Optimize is quite an interesting tool because it allows us to change web pages and compare an A version versus a B version.
Okay.
Where it gets even more interesting is it feeds the data into analytics. So it's pushing all the stuff into our one central place where we review how things are doing. I think that's a big problem for landing page platforms. Even the one I love called Instapage, I think.
Instapage, yeah.
Google coming into this world is a big thing for those guys.
Right.
And how they handle that, I don't know. I mean, Optimize is not as advanced as Instapage or Lead Pages or any of the big landing page platforms, but it certainly is the beginning of a direction Google are going in. So with that in mind, we'll be able to pretty much send traffic to our websites from Google, review what's happened on our site through analytics, and then optimize our web pages all within one network.
Wow.
Which tells us all about their world domination plan.
All about Google, yeah. Google is big brother.
That's it. And then the second tool is called attribution. And attribution is something that we already have in analytics. And what that refers to is the idea that not everybody converts to a lead or a sale on their first visit. Yeah. And so lots of different factors may have contributed to that lead or sale. So someone may have originally found you on a Google search and then returned by typing in your web address, and then maybe they saw a remarketing ad on Facebook. And it's only after the Facebook click that they actually take an action. Mm-hmm. But in reality, all 3 points have helped. So attribution is another tool from Google which helps us see more clearly how our web marketing channels interact. And the way the web is now, we're moving so far away from the one-click days, which is a phrase I kind of have in my head from the early days of the internet. When it really was, Google search, one click, that's it, I'll take it. Now we're in a world of comparison now.
Yeah, that's what I constantly doing online is comparing products, holidays, whatever.
Absolutely. That's it, isn't it? That's it. So what are you going to take away on your holidays? Now you have this new mind full of pay-per-click. Are you going to leave it all behind, or are you going to let it simmer?
I'm gonna try and sleep without thinking about pay-per-click because this week has been a bit difficult. But no, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna start on because I think I need to do one more exam to get my certification for AdWords.
Brilliant.
So I need to do one of those. So that's my plan for when I come back. So hopefully I'll still remember everything.
Well, we'll definitely touch on that in our next podcast, because if you achieve that, you'll have gone from knowing a little bit about pay-per-click to jumping in there and becoming certified in 8 weeks.
Yeah.
That's some going.
Yeah, as long as I can remember it. That's the thing. Well, it's as long as I'm working on it, as long as you're giving me work to do on it, then it should all stick. It's when you learn something and do an exam and then you don't use it, that's when you end up forgetting things.
Well, there we go. I think luckily there's quite a lot there for you to do when you get back.
Yeah, I think we'll have plenty.
Certainly will. Well, Joe, I've enjoyed this chatting about pay-per-click and how it's become a big part of your life and even Jerome's life now. So that's great to know. Have a great holiday. Thank you for the podcast.
Thank you very much.
We'll look forward to catching up when you're back.
catch up then.
My name is Phil Byrne, and I'd like to thank you so much for listening today. I hope you got something really good to take away from this week's episode for you or your business. And you know what? I'd like to give you something more. In fact, I'd like to give you a whole free web marketing pack full of all my latest and best ideas on how you can take your business forward positively online. Download your pack at positivesparks.co.uk/pack. And most of all, guys, look forward to seeing you again next week.